Legacy. So, Legacy, probably one of my stronger formats, like, all memeing aside. How good do I think Mono Black combo is? Better than people think it is, but still... What's the best way of putting it? I think it's just a deck that you have to understand how it mulligans. And a lot of people don't understand that. But let's go to Legacy, where I played this deck. So this photo is not quite correct. I realized at the last second that I cut the second Plague Engineer for Pyrokinesis, and I cut the third Pyroblast for a second Meltdown. And really what happened with this deck was I was playing MTGO on July 3rd in an LCQ, and I ran into my buddy Stefan Schutz, who was playing Grixis Ransom with 0 Delver. And actually, let's just pull up his deck so we can talk about where the deck started from. This is where Stefan had the deck set up. And basically, if you look at this deck, it's almost identical to mine, except I have 2 Delver of Secrets where he has, like, a Thoughtseize and a Bobble in the main deck, which is fine. Like, you can cut 2 things to lower your curve slightly and have, like, a threat on turn 1 more often, which I think makes your dazes better, because, like, just having a turn 1 threat makes daze better. But, of course, you can play it in this setup, and that's perfectly fine. But really, why I call this deck Grixis Ransom is because I think this card actually does serve the card advantage role that you want a card like this to serve. So basically, what happens is your opponent, you know, they look at the top 4 cards of your library, they factor fiction them into a face-down pile and face-up pile, and one goes to your graveyard and one goes to your hand. Well, so that does a lot of things for your deck. A, it makes it really likely that DRC is going to have Delirium, and B, it makes Murktide Regent kind of juiced. It is a fixed EI in a lot of ways, yes. I mean, obviously you cast on 3 mana, and you often cast EI on 3 mana, but the difference is, it does require you to have 3 mana first, whereas EI you can, like, theoretically cast on 2 mana on turn 3 and hope to hit a land off of it. Crazy power creep to Steam Augury, yeah. Ring Tempting actually matters both ways. I think if you're not careful and you ring tempt onto your Murktide and your opponent draws Karakas, the game kind of ends on the spot. So be wary of that. But I think also, like, you know, ring tempting onto your Orc Army token or whatever, and getting the second chapter is pretty valuable. Yeah, my deck is a little bit worse at Delirium because I have 1 less Bobble. But I think it's still within tolerable parameters, like, you know, that's fine. I also have a pretty different sideboard from Stefan, but that's more negotiable. I kind of wish I had had 1 more Graveyard Hate card. Instead of the 3rd Artifact Hate card, I wish I had had 1 more Graveyard Hate card instead. I considered playing Nihil Spellbomb or 2nd Surgical. I think you should play Cage, just because it's so good versus Zenith decks, or, like, you know, Fiend Artisan or something like that, that it's kind of just worth it to me. I think if you're Jeskai, Rest in Peace is pretty strong, and so is Containment Priest, but I'm clearly not a Jeskai deck here. And I kind of just like having Thoughtseize plus Fawns post-board to, like, also try to shred combo decks with, you know? Alright, trying to remember, did anyone else have any other questions about the deck? I guess. Would I play 4 Delvers in the future? Not really. Like, I think the other creatures are just better. You should just play 4 DRC, 4 Bowmaster, 4 Murktide first. Oh, that's the other thing about Delver. Alongside Bowmasters, it gives you a real angle to kill people through Graveyard Hate. 2 Orc Army. Well, I had plenty of space in my deck, that deck box, Venox Storm. Don't worry about it. I had plenty of space. Null Rod for the ring. Not specifically. Null Rod's more for 8 cast or Mystic Forge. like the dedicated artifact decks. Like I'm not going to side in Null Rod versus like 4-color, you know, pile that happens to have the One Ring with it. Would I play Rakdos Painter or Shadow if I was going to Cincinnati? No, I would literally play this deck. I think if you like Rakdos Painter, that's a fine deck to play, but me personally, I would play this deck. I kind of think like the 2-color, what's my actual issue with Shadow? I think my issue with Shadow is that not touching a 3rd color makes you lack power in some matchups where I think you can kind of just avoid it and be slightly worse versus Wasteland or whatever, you know? Did I encounter problems with Badlands plus Sanctuary? Only once. And obviously it is like something that can happen. I think it's just very unlikely to happen because Brainstorm also lets you put Sanctuary back in your deck. Obviously your Brainstorms are stressed, but it's not a huge issue. I think generally speaking. I guess we could go back and watch the 2 matches I was on camera for. People want to see what happened. How do I feel about Jeskai Control / Stoneblade and Legacy with 4th Aerolingus? I think Jeskai Delver with 4th Aerolingus is a pretty good deck. I don't think Jeskai Stoneblade with 4th Aerolingus really solves many problems. I think Jeskai Control with 4th Aerolingus is okay to play if you really want to, but I think that might be worse than playing like a 4-color deck with 4th Aerolingus instead, if I had to guess. But yeah, let's see if we can find... Let's see, can I find this? Well, I guess I can find it really easily. Pause. What's a Barrow main? You mean Brazen Borrower? I don't really think I can advocate cutting a Murktide for a Brazen Borrower. I do like having 2 Brazen Borrowers post-board. Like, basically for the same reason I think Delver and Bowmaster are good non-graveyard threats. I think Brazen Borrower is also a good non-graveyard creature, like pseudo Into the Royal / threat split card. But I can't really advocate cutting any Murktides from the main deck. Did they? Are there individual videos? Where are the individual videos? I don't see them. Do you think Dimir Shadow could just be Grixis Shadow instead? I don't know. Don't know how to figure that out right now. I'm sorry. Wait, what's... No. Sorry. I can't really find it. I'm just gonna go to the place where I know the thing exists, honestly. Alright, I'm gonna put it on 2x, I think. Because this is just a little bit too slow for me. Actually, let's pause the music for now. Right. Okay. Oh, was it actually on YouTube? Do I have the strong opinion on the correct number of the Delver have in my deck? I don't think it can be. Basically, I don't think you want more than 14 creatures in the deck, really. That can change in like a post board game, but pre-board, I don't think you really want more than 14 creatures because it kind of messes with Dorium, with Delver Flips themselves, or whatever. It messes with enough things that I wouldn't really want to do it. Well, maybe it was on YouTube. Was on YouTube, chat, where the NRG thing was? Oh, it is. Actually, we'll go there instead. Wait, doesn't have all of them yet, right? Wait, does it have any of them? These are old, right? This is from Chicago. Okay, they're not even here yet. Okay, I got debated. We'll go back to the other place. Alright, it's fine. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. Well, I should have checked.
Pioneer 5K trial. Then next month we're going to Indianapolis.
We can
After
find
that, October 14th to the 15th, we have a Pioneer 10K showdown,
One,
and then we have a
2x.
team trial on Sunday. That's going to be Modern,
1.5x.
Pioneer, and Legacy. So if you and your friends all want to go out and do that, a lot of money on the line. Really exciting happening there. Then to round off our series for the year, we're actually going to Madison November 25th and 26th. That's right after Thanksgiving. It's going to be a Modern 10K showdown and a Pioneer 5K trial. So what you do is you go, do the in-laws on Thursday, fly into Madison on Friday. We game all weekend. It's going to be a good time. And speaking of gaming all weekend, Abe, we're wrapping up our weekend here with the coverage all day of Legacy. So you want to make sure to follow. That way you don't miss any of the action. And I want to talk about Jarvis's matchup this week. So Jarvis is playing Grixis Delverish, a deck that we have seen a lot of. And what is he battling against today, Abe?
Today, Jarvis is battling against a deck that he's actually probably best known for playing. His like marquee finish as a Legacy player was winning, I believe, Grand Prix Seattle many years ago with lands. The ever-present, I'm going to take all of your lands away and kill you with lands. Lands in every form. Slicing deck. And that's going to be a really, really interesting matchup. It's kind of historically been the case that like Delver decks were the reason to play lands, kind of having that managed denial aspect, being able to go so far over what they're doing. But so much of how these decks work has changed over the years and how they're built. So it's going to be a really, really interesting one to dive into here.
Yeah, and Jarvis is playing Grixis Delverish. There's a lot of contention right now. Do we play Jeskai or Grixis? What are we going? There are a lot of new and powerful cards added to these decks from Lord of the Rings.
Fast Mason can't hurt you. Fast Mason isn't real. Sorry, Fast Mason is real.
A lot of thoughts about, oh, this is good against Dragadan and Esper Sentinel. Okay, that's probably enough. But we've seen it just become a mainstay of that format. Meanwhile, here in Legacy, it's better than you could ever imagine. You know, players sort of thought it was going to be a good card, and it's turned out to be an unbelievable card. So we're going to head right down to feature match area.
Yeah, we've got Jarvis leading off here with an Underground Sea and a Ponder. It looks like he might